Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today I want to talk about what I'm currently reading, but also what are my reading plans for next month. So next month is Asian Readathon and I plan to participate there. So I think I'll focus most of my reading on that. But there'll probably be some other books. I'm also quite a mood reader, so I don't like to force myself to read only from a predetermined list, because then I kind of end up in a reading slump and I don't want to go there. So let's just start with the books I'm currently reading. So I think I'll start with Harbor Me by Jacqueline Woodson. This is a really short book about 6 children who are in a special class at school because they're something which they're called like problem children, and they are in a special class, and their teacher tells them to go to this room once a week for an hour just to discuss things, so they can talk about whatever. And they end up talking about really difficult things which are happening in their families, and they end up opening up to each other. So it's really a kind of a heartbreaking book, because no children so young should be exposed to things that these children are exposed to. So for example, one of the girls' father is in prison, another boy's father is deported or being deported. So he kind of disappeared in the middle of the night and no one knew what happened to him for a while until he wrote a letter from a detention center. So I really like Jacqueline Woodson's books and her writing style. I have read another book by her. I think it's called Another Brooklyn, and I really liked it. And I've been eyeing at the bookstore her book, The Red at the Bone, and I think I'm gonna go and buy that at some point soon, because I think I will also enjoy that. But I think this is also a really fast read. It's like 170 pages with really big fonts and a lot of space between the lines, so it's really an easy read. I think you can read this in a couple of hours. But I really like the topics this covers, and I think it's an important book to read for everyone, especially if you have kids. I'm not sure if this is meant for kids, maybe, but I really like it. I think she's most known for her book Brown Girl Dreaming, and I will probably pick that up also at some point. Then I'm reading Ian Pierce's Arcadia, and this is from my Big Books challenge. So I have a challenge this year when I read a big book every month. I'm not sure I'm gonna manage to finish this in April, because I only read this much, and it's like so much left. This is like 700 plus pages, and this is kind of a fantasy world where we follow different timelines and different worlds, and it's such an interesting book. I mean, like for the first 50-ish pages I was like, where is this going? Because it feels also a bit absurd, but as you move on, it gets more and more interesting, and you kind of see where the dots might connect, because as I said, this follows different timelines, different people, and these people come from different worlds as well, and these worlds will interconnect at some point. And it's just so fascinating how this is put together and how weird it is. So I'm really hoping that as I continue reading, I will enjoy it more and more, because this is like a one-of-a-kind, really unique book, and the writing style is also pretty easy to follow, and yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. But I don't know, even if I push through, I don't know if I can finish this because we have like 5-6 days left of April. So let's see how it goes. Otherwise I'll just finish it next month. And then if we continue with my challenges for next month, the big book I chose for next month, for the month of May, is The Crimson Petal and the White by Michelle Faber. So I have picked this book up when I was in London, I think last year. Oh those days where you can just travel, you know. But I heard about this a lot on BookTube, and it's one of those historical fiction novels everyone seems to recommend. So this one is set in Victorian London, and it follows a prostitute who tries to better her life, I guess. So there's a lot of passion, intrigue, ambition, revenge. So I can see a lot of twists and turns in this novel, a lot of interesting characters, but most of all, a very interesting female main character. So I can't wait to get into this. This one is also one of those really floppy paperbacks. I mean, it's so satisfying to listen and hold, but it's also very, very, very long. It's like 800 pages, 800 plus, and the font is minuscule. So, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna enjoy it. The next book I have is a classic, and it is The Painted Veil by Somerset Maugham. And this one is also part of my reading challenge for 2020. It's part of my classics reading challenge where I read a classic a month. This month I have read A Passage to India by E.M. Forster. So I'm looking forward to another setting with this and another tone, because I didn't really enjoy that one so much. But this one is about a beautiful woman who lives with her husband, and he's a bacteriologist, and they live in Hong Kong. She's really bored with her life, and she decides to cheat on her husband. And I guess we follow what happens afterwards, because of course her husband will find out and there are gonna be some consequences. So I'm looking forward to getting into this. Also, isn't this cover beautiful? And now let's get into the books I'm going to read for Asian Readathon. So this readathon is a month-long readathon hosted by Cindy from Read with Cindy. I also participated last year, and I really enjoyed the books I read. So I was like, I have some books on my physical shelves which fit in with this readathon. So I'm like, this is the perfect time to read some more books from my physical shelves, because I think that's one of the main things I want to do, and I'm doing this year, trying to read as much from my physical shelves as possible, because I'm so rubbish at that. And now with the pandemic going on, I can't go to the library, so I might as well read my own damn books, right? But there are 4 or 5 challenges in this readathon, and the first one is read a book by an Asian author. And for this, I'm gonna read The Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro. So last year I read Never Let Me Go, and that book was deeply unsettling. I can still remember what I felt when I read it, and it's like, oh my god, it was so hard-hitting. And I had this one as well on my TBR, and I didn't get to it. So I think this year is gonna be the perfect time. This one is set in England in 1956, and it is about this aging butler who works in this great house which has a new owner now. And he goes on this road trip, and he reminisces about his days, his life, I guess, on this road trip, and the people he met and the people who owned the house, maybe. I think it has also elements of the Second World War in it, because if it's set in 56, he must have lived through that. So I think I'm gonna love this one, and especially if it's as good as Never Let Me Go. I also think it's gonna be pretty hard-hitting. The next challenge for the readathon is, and let me read it, read a book featuring an Asian character or written by an Asian author who you can relate to. And that book, the book I picked up for this is The Immigrant by Manu Kapoor. And Manu Kapoor is an Indian author. I have picked this book up from a library sale, and it sounded interesting. I picked up another book by this author at the same time, and I read that for the Asian Readathon last year. I really enjoyed it, and I've been saving this one for this year. So this is The Immigrant, and the way I relate to this is that I'm also from Romania and living in Denmark. So I also came to live in another country where I didn't know anyone, and there's a different culture and different people, and I think it's the same way. Our main protagonist is a young woman who is from India, but then she moves to Canada, and I think she marries there, so she has to get used to a completely different way of life. So I'm looking forward to this one. And the next challenge for the Asian Readathon is read a book featuring an Asian character or written by an Asian author who is different from you. And for this, I picked a non-fiction memoir. It is Infidel by Ayaan Hirsi Ali. And I picked this book up a long time ago. I haven't gotten to it yet. And since I picked this up, I've seen some controversial things on the internet about this author, so I'm not sure what to do about it, but I think I'm just gonna read the book and just form my own opinion and maybe research a bit more what the controversy is about, because I'm not really sure. But this sounds like a really hard-hitting book, because this one is about the author who comes from a strict Muslim family and extended clan. She survived civil war, female circumcision, brutal beatings, and adolescence as a devout believer, the rise of the Muslim Brotherhood, and life in 4 countries under dictatorships. She escaped from a forced marriage and sought asylum in the Netherlands, where she fought for the rights of Muslim women and the reform of Islam, earning her the enmity of reactionary Islamists and craven politicians. Under constant threat, she refuses to be silent. So it seems like she went through a lot, and it's really interesting to read and I guess see what this is all about. But I haven't read a lot of these type of books. I think I have only read one where it's about a Muslim woman and what she went through, and I'm really looking forward to reading this and I guess for my own opinion. The next challenge for the readathon is read a book recommended by an Asian, and for this I'm going to read one of the books Cindy is going to read for the Asian Readathon, so I guess she's recommending it, and it is On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Wong. So this is also one of those I planned to pick up and read no matter what, and I think I'm going to go to the bookstore soon and pick it up together with Red at the Bone by Jacqueline Woodson. And this book sounds so interesting because it is a debut, but it is about a boy, a son who writes letters to his mother, and his mother cannot read. So I've seen this book on a lot of different channels and everyone says that it is amazing, so I'm looking forward to that. And then there's a bonus challenge, which is Read Little Fires Everywhere. And I've actually read this already. I think it's interesting to read it now, especially because the series is out. But I don't think the series is available for me, as I'm not I don't live in the US, so I'm not sure it is available for me. But I have read the book and I'm not planning to read it again. Maybe I'm going to read Celeste Ng's other novel. I'm not sure, we'll see how it goes. But I guess these are all the books I'm planning to read next month. What do you think? I think there are some great ones in here, and I'll probably manage to read more than this, but if the pandemic goes on, I'll probably read some more escapist books, like the books I read this month. I read like 2 Sophie Kinsella books, which were so much fun. And these are books I don't normally read, but I think I need those type of books as well, because most of these I mentioned here are quite hard-hitting, so I think I will need to break it up with something fun and lighthearted. So if you have any recommendations, let me know in the comments below. But I guess this is where I'll leave you today. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.